going to turn it over to Haley Andrus. She's the president of the Apache County Farm Bureau and one of the great partners in helping us put this on as well. Haley, I don't know if you want to try to share your screen. Looks like you're unmuted. Yeah. Hold on, David, I'll take you off. Hold on a second.
You can unshare me, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Haley.
Okay. All
there
right.
we go. We're still, yep. Oh, great.
You see it?
We see it. If you want to do full screen, you can just do from beginning slideshow. Yep, there you go. That's great. Perfect.
Okay, I guess first off, I just want to say thank you to Sharma for putting this on, but also just as an advocate for partnering with NRCD and Fish and Game will follow and Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and just as an operator ourselves, partnering with these folks has changed our operation. I used to spend a lot of time in the water truck, and I hardly spend any time in the water truck thanks to these people. So if you're a producer out there, we can't recommend talking to David and finding out more about these programs, and JD and Rob coming up. So Farm Bureau, we'll just do a brief overview. Farm Bureau is to promote agriculture and be the voice of agriculture through communications in the legislature, as well as we'll talk a bit about their grassroots advocacy and in education. So our membership are two types. There are agriculture members that are in production agriculture, but also people that just want to support agriculture but don't necessarily have a farm or ranch can join Farm Bureau as an associative member. Farm Bureau is unique because it gives each farm and ranch a chance to work directly with the organization's work, and you have a direct line to people with a lot of influence in the state legislature and the federal legislature, and it's a real grassroots program where us out in Apache County can work on policies that will make it to the state, that may make it up into the nation. So it really works from the ground up. When you become a member of Farm Bureau, it's a family membership. Everyone in your family is included. Your membership is for the county, the state, and the nation all in one. You benefit from policy development participation. You get to have voting privileges, and there are some other benefits as far as member engagements and member discounts. There's a few programs that I really love, and one, I really love their Ag in the Classroom. They take programs and they try to get it into all sorts of schools. They teach where their food comes from, about plants, animals. They partner it with what the kids are already learning in science and writing, and it's a really great program. The other program, they advocate for policymakers at the state and local levels and to just make sure that the voice of agriculture is heard. And then there are a lot of leadership development opportunities through their women's leadership, through their young farmers and ranchers programs. And this is how to become a member. You can go to this website, and up at the top it'll say join. You follow the prompts, and it is really easy. Again, there are two types of memberships. There are ag producer, those on farms and ranches, and then associate members. I want to just, the state has helped us put together a little video. Let me see if I can get to it. Get back.
I hope it works, Haley.
I do too. Let me see. Do you see my screen?
Not yet, but maybe there might be just a little delay.
Okay. Let's see. I think I've got to share screen again. Oh, yes. Oh, okay, hold on.
Oh, we're starting to see something. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna, See if this works.
Hi, my name is Andrus, and I'm the Apache County Farm Bureau president. Years ago, when I was teaching undergraduate beginning level science classes, I noticed something among my students, and it was that their exposure to environmental issues far outweighed their exposure to agricultural issues and where the food came from. I thought this was really interesting. I also noticed how well funded and how good the environmental messages have been at getting into schools, getting into mainstream media, and getting into Americans' homes and minds. And I had the distinct thought that was, who is doing this for agriculture? Fast forward 10 years later, on my introduction to Farm Bureau, and my question was answered. Farm Bureau is doing this for agriculture. They are getting into schools with their ag in the classroom programs. They're advocating for legislation and regulation that was favorable to all sectors of agriculture. And they are communicating with public media and all sorts of other avenues to get out there and let agriculture, especially now in this time of this COVID-19 global pandemic, the problems in food production as well as agriculture in general has been brought to the forefront of the American mind. I can foresee this being a time of great change. We're inviting you to become a part of the change in agriculture by becoming part of Farm Bureau. We're inviting you to have a seat at the table to let your voice need you, want you, be with us as this time of great change happens. Now, you may be saying to yourself, I don't even have time to sit at my own table. And I get that. Our family is swallowed up in the business as well. So if you would still like your membership dollars to be going to those who are advocating for our benefits, please consider becoming an ag member of Farm Bureau. Here are a smattering of different people in the county that you'll recognize, telling you what their reasons are for becoming members of Farm Bureau.
Hello, my name is David Brown. Our family has been members of Farm Bureau since the 1950s. I'm a member of Farm Bureau for the following three reasons. Number one, advocacy at both the national and state level. Number two, relationships. I have many friends south of the state of Arizona through Farm Bureau. And number three, heritage. Farm Bureau helps us maintain our ranching and farming lifestyle. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Whit Land with Apache County Farm Bureau. I'm part of the Farm Bureau because they can get our story out there. They're a large organization, and they can represent us in Congress for our interests.
Hello, from Norman and Karen Brown. We live here in St. John's. It's a great place, great situation. We appreciate being members of the Apache and Arizona Farm Bureaus. And it is very important for us to know that we have good people around the state helping us out, taking care of a lot of issues that we can't handle on our own, as we have so much to do here, like a lot of you, but we appreciate everybody getting together, and we appreciate lots of good friends that we've made through Farm Bureau. Have a great day. Carry on.
My name is Rosemary Land, and I'm in Arizona Farm Bureau because Farm Bureau acts as a really good advocate for ranchers. They kind of get the word out there on what the ranchers need and what they want, and their viewpoint on a lot of things. So, yeah.
I'm Travis Johnson. I'm a member of Farm Bureau because it is an avenue in which those of us that are involved in agriculture can have a voice.
Virginia K. Housen. We have been members of Farm Bureau our entire married life, and even before that, our families have been nothing but farmers in Iowa, Illinois, and Glendale, and always in the west side of the Salt River Valley. And Jim served for many years here in Apache County in St. John's as the Farm Bureau president, and has been on the board all these years. I spent 10 years as a Farm Bureau insurance agent from 71 to 81, and I've been the women's chairman. We have always had all of our insurance with Farm Bureau insurance, and Farm Bureau has been a part of our heritage and our life. It's what we were raised with.
Hello, I'm Andrus. I'm a member of Apache County Farm Bureau. Because of the political lobbying power they give us, To allow policy changes in our behalf that we could not do as an individual. Thank you.
Hi, we're Lance and Kristen Knight, and we're members of Farm Bureau because they advocate for the agricultural lifestyle with the public and in the legislature so that we can live it.
Okay, were you able to hear it? It was kind of quiet, but.
We could hear most of it. Some of it was a little quiet.
Okay, well, I sure appreciate everyone sending me a video to help promote Farm Bureau. Again, we'd like anyone in the county to come join us. Here are some upcoming events. We are planning a policy development meeting towards the end of July. I am just really excited about the changes that will happen in food production throughout the nation. And I think it can take some creative and collaborative ideas, and hopefully we can start thinking about that. And so that we'll do some policy development July. And then everyone mark your calendars for September 1st, 2020. We are planning to have our Harvest Social. We'll have our annual meeting from 5 to 6, and then we'll have dinner from 6 to 8. And we're partnering with the Apache County cattle growers and maybe some others. So put that on your calendar. We hope to make this an annual event where we partner with a lot of people in agriculture and bring us all together in the fall. Again, if you'd like to become a member, please visit our website. I will take some questions if there are any.
Any questions for Haley? You can unmute yourself at that bottom of the screen, or you could type in under chat. No questions? Haley, thank you so much. And I think most of that video worked. That's a great video.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Yeah, Apache County Farm Bureau is one of our great partners in helping us put this on today. So thank you so much, Haley. We are moving ahead of schedule. This is great. So we'll keep on going along. Okay, now I'm going to introduce Rob Andrus. He's a Southwest Lands Program Manager with Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Rob, are you able to? Let's see, I'm going to unmute you, and there you go.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Let's see if you could share your screen.
Okay, let's see if it works. Where is that presentation? Okay, and it's full.
Perfect, perfect.
And hopefully that's the first slide and not the last slide, because they look the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you all for having me at the workshop. I want to especially thank JD and Haley and Sharma for folding me into all of your organizations. And just a little background, I'm the Southwest Lands Program Manager for Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. So my region is Southern Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And I'm basically tasked with partnering and forming new partnerships for conservation projects from a land trust perspective and stewardship perspective in the region. And I started in September of 2019, and so I'm about 6 or 7 months into it, I guess. And that's what I'm here to do, is try to meet as many people as possible and get projects on the ground. So I'll just give you a little rundown of what we're about, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Our focus is on elk and wildlife, habitat, and hunting. So I guess I have to use my mouse. We have several different groups within the organization that focus on different items relative to almost all the things we've been talking about so far today. And stewardship is a big one. Hunting, of course, is big. Land protection, again, we are a land trust, and you know, we work on acquisitions and conservation easements and stewardship projects, and working directly with landowners and agencies. And we have an initiative for elk restoration, basically repatriating elk to their historic range as much as we are able to do. And then we have individuals that focus on issues, advocacy, bills in Washington that come up or that we promote or that we address because they positively or negatively affect wildlife, habitat, hunting. And I am in the land protection side of it for the most part, but I dip my toes in all of it at different times. We have about 230,000 members across the country and 500 chapters. And I emphasize this is because we can, one, the members bring us dollars so that we can do this kind of work. They promote us. They allow us to do what we do on the landscape. And then the other thing, you know, our members and our volunteers can often come together and work on projects on the ground. So if there's a project that we look at with a landowner or with any of you all on this workshop, oftentimes we can draw on our local chapters to promote a project and actually get things done. And of course, that's labor and can be matching dollars. Our major initiatives, I think, really kind of went over those already, kind of in that where we, how we work slide, but we're big on access, increasing and improving public access for hunting and recreation, and manage lands. That's sort of our stewardship. Working on projects, providing projects to fund projects that improve wildlife habitat. And then our hunting heritage. That's a separate approach that we have to promote hunting primarily with young people, to get people out and keep our hunting heritage alive. We started in 1984. This is just a quick bullet list of the number of projects and acres that we've protected or enhanced, and where we've worked across the country in 49 states. And I won't focus on that too much. We partner with anyone that we can partner with that shares our values as far as wildlife and habitat and agriculture. So we partner with landowners working on the ground. We partner with federal and state and local wildlife managers, state and local governments, tribal organizations, tribal governments, conservation organizations, other land trusts, many partners to get good things done on the ground. And the next few slides and the next group of slides really just focus on what do we have to work with landowners? What can we bring? What service can we provide to promote conservation? We can fundraise, go after grants. We can help landowners do that. We can team up with agencies and help them with their application process, or fundraise outside and provide matching. If there's a private match, we can bring that to the table. And we focus on land trust type of, or I do, the people in the organization that do what I do, we focus on land trust types of activities. So conservation easements and acquisitions. There are about 10 people like myself that are out sort of scattered across the country, looking for ways to protect and enhance the landscape for wildlife and habitat. And we can do that through conservation easements, acquisitions, and land donations, land exchanges. This is just a quick table of how many conservation easements we hold. We only have one in Arizona, and we have 88 in Colorado. I would like to try to balance that out. And if there's ever a chance or a landowner that's looking into a conservation easement and one of you needs someone to hold the easement or need some kind of assistance, whether it's fundraising or due diligence, any of that kind of things related to obtaining a conservation easement, we can do that. So keep us in mind, and please do contact me if somebody is interested in a conservation easement and you would like some help getting that established. I think I won't spend too much time with that. That's just our conservation easement program. But I do want to emphasize, just so it's completely clear, what we do, or what I'm tasked to do on these conservation and habitat protection projects. So we can take a project from the ground up, from meeting with agencies, fundraising, meeting with the landowners, working out the details of what it is they're trying to achieve, whether it's habitat stewardship or a conservation easement, or if they want to convey their land to a federal agency that they
Rob?
join. Yes.
Sorry to interject, but we do have a question. I've got a question from Derek. It says, where is the easement in Arizona?
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. I didn't see the chat. Thanks for bringing that out. The easement in Arizona is close to me. So I live in Prescott, and it's in Chino Valley, and it's called Little Thumb Butte. If you're familiar with Chino Valley, then Little Thumb Butte is not necessarily something labeled on most maps, but it's right in the middle of Chino Valley. Okay, so we can help agencies and landowners get projects done, and to do that, you know, we kind of have a process that we go through. But I want to emphasize that one of the biggest things we can do, other than fundraise, would be the due diligence. So everything that needs to get done, title work, legal, anything related to lands, we can do that. We have attorneys in-house, and we have fundraisers in-house. We can do it all. And there's the steps that I don't need to focus on these steps that much, but you know, we kind of get the project vetted through our organization and with our board, and get it approved, and do any on the ground work that we need to, and title work, and then we can initiate the project, get a purchase option agreement if it's some sort of a real estate transaction, whether it's an easement or an acquisition, get the appraisal done. If it's a conservation easement, we can contract the baseline, which are required on easements, and we can contract the appraisals. We can generate the conservation easement deed through our legal department, and again, we can fundraise, and that is, and then we can close it. We work with the title company, we work with escrow, and we prepare all the paperwork and get a great conservation project on the ground. And then the other thing, what we have are called project advisory committees. If any of you have ever worked with PACs, so those are dollars that our members and fundraisers generate, and a portion of what our members generate at banquets and events goes into a pot of money that can be drawn on for conservation purposes. And that can be done anywhere there's a need for habitat stewardship. And this money can is oftentimes put on the ground on private lands. There's usually a nexus with state or federal wildlife and resource managers, because most projects have, well, since they're related to wildlife, we usually want to bring in the resource managers so that we're doing things on the ground that also meet their objectives and don't conflict. So we can provide money from the PAC grant process for stewardship projects like prescribed burns, forest thinning, weed control, water source, water developments, aspen management, fencing, wildlife friendly fencing. We provide money for research on wildlife and habitat, and we can also work with grazing management. These are just the criteria for the PAC grant, and you know, the grants, in order to be competitive and successful, they need to be science-based. They should provide a direct benefit to elk, and we're basically a $50 for dollar match. So whatever the landowner or the agency brings in, we can match that. And again, they need to be consistent with the state's wildlife agency's management plans. And there's a process for applying for a grant, but I would just say if any of you know of someone that is seeking funding for habitat stewardship, you can just contact me and I would explain that and get you the forms and get you in the loop with that process. These are just a couple quick examples of projects that we've done recently. This is in Navajo County, Arizona, partnered with Arizona Game and Fish, the NRCS, the landowner or the permittee, and it's so far a 2-phase juniper mastication for over 3,000 acres. And wildlife fencing is a big one we'd like to see more of done, of course. And this one is in Oregon, and we've partnered with some individuals that have really been getting after it, and they've improved 44 miles of fencing so far. And then noxious weed control, we can cost share with landowners and agencies, and just get a lot more done on the ground through our match and our partnering. And another big one that I'm hoping we all get to travel soon, because this Adopt a Ranch program is really neat. We can get RMEF, local RMEF volunteers to adopt a ranch, and they'll have annual meetings where they do water or fencing projects and just provide tons and tons of labor for the landowner. And there is a Oaxaca Ranch event was supposed to occur, and it just keeps getting pushed out. But if anyone is interested in that event or unaware of it, please do let me know, and I will get you in touch with the individual at Arizona Game and Fish if you'd like to come out to that event and do some on the ground work. It's a really amazing property. With that, I will take any questions.
Any questions for Rob? You can unmute yourselves at the bottom. That little black menu should pop up. Did I hear one?
Rob, this is Derek Knight. I know that there's a big juniper eradication project that we've kind of helped put together with NRCS and the Forest Service that's just east of Springerville, north of Escadilla Mountain there. And there's also a lot of work that's been done on state trust land right there as well. A lot of it, pretty heavy brush. A lot of it was ended up having to be not just mechanically moved or mechanically worked, but also hand lopped and stuff. And so I know there's a real opportunity for a burn there. And I didn't know whether Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation or you had been involved with working with the Forest Service yet on maybe putting that whole burn unit together once that Forest Service part of that gets done, or if you are aware of what's going on over there.
Not at that level of detail. I'm aware just what I've toured around in that area with JD, and I know there was a project there that we did provide some funding for mastication, but I'm not aware that we've dug into that level. We do have a Carrie Decker. She's our lead on stewardship, and largely oversees the PAC grant process along with Grady McCarthy. If maybe we could, could you drop me an email to kind of summarize that and what, if you have a question, is your overall question more of,
well, I just wanted to make sure that we may be able to pull you into it, because I know there's some issues, especially on the state trust land side, about liability and things like that. And maybe JD can kind of help spearhead some of that as we move forward.
yeah.
JD, I think you're familiar with where I'm talking about.
Yeah. I was going to interject anyway. We actually just had a meeting with the forest, and FFS. I'm short, forgetting what that acronym stands for, but basically we just had a meeting with the forest, and Grady was present at that meeting as well with Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Oh, good.
There's a stewardship with the Mule Dealer Foundation for that project as well, that we're kind of funneling money through to help kind of give us an ability to combine funds outside of the contracting process there on the forest. So it's kind of already in the works, I guess, is the long and short of it. And I know folks are aware of it, but I'll definitely keep on that and keep everybody involved.
Yeah, if there's a way, and I apologize, I don't have a super solid answer or understanding of the situation and its details and how we could provide assistance. We certainly could provide funding assistance through the PAC grant process and through our stewardship arm. But if there's any way that we can provide assistance, just reach out to me. And if I don't have the answer, I can get a hold of Carrie or Grady and JD, get a better understanding how we could help out if it's just simply contracting. If there's some way that we can expedite process or anyway, then
Rob, just so you know, I believe they did get a PAC grant for that project on this last round that was awarded. So I believe it was.
Does that cross the line onto state trust ground too, JD?
It hasn't yet. It starts with 9,000 acres that's on the forest. And their next identified area is just south of Highway 60, just out, basically as you're leaving the state trust land boundary with the forest there, moving south. So kind of continuing on from where a lot of that work has been done on the south side of 60.
Okay, well, I was just hoping that we could possibly somehow attach some of that habitat work that needs to be accomplished on that state ground as well. I mean, it has been treated, mechanically treated for brush, but fairly heavily infestation of brush there, and there's a lot of matter on the ground that we could come through and burn that in concert with one of the other burns on the forest right on the fence line there. It would sure improve that habitat. So that's the way I was thinking, trying to connect them.
I don't know if you've been in contact at all. This is John Orona with Arizona State Forestry. I don't know if you've been in contact with Bob Arthur. He's our district manager over here in our Northeast district. But you know, they put together burn plans, and I mean, we have crews that you know, that's what they do is you know, they do the prescribed burns, and so if you haven't been in contact with him, you know, you can reach out to me and we can maybe set up a meeting and see if State Forestry can help out as well.
Yeah, and I think we've got to work it through the permittee's grazing rotation too, because I know there's some concerns at that point. But it's just something that really sticks out, that when they're right next to, across a fence from each other, they need to be looked at together if we can. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. Any other comments or questions for Rob? Thank you, Rob.
Thank you all for including me, and certainly do reach out with any kind of questions. And if it's habitat, land work, stewardship, just reach out to me and I'd be glad to work with all of you in any way possible. And
thank you so much, Rob.
And hopefully eventually get out of the office and be able to travel and meet people in person too.
Eventually, right? Gosh,
Yeah.
we long for those days. But no, I'll be reaching out to you too, Rob, because I want to see how the AACD and we all can work together.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So thank you, Rob. Okay, we're going to move on to John Orona. John, I know you were already speaking for a little bit there, but you're the urban forestry specialist at the Department of Forestry and Fire Management. And take it away, John. I don't know if you want to try to share your screen.
Yeah, here, can you hear me right now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, let me try to share my screen here.
Perfect, we can see it.
Okay, wrong slide, but.
Oh, we'll take, there we go.
All right, so good morning, everybody. My name is John Orona, and I'm actually in the process of transitioning to a new position, relatively same responsibilities, but I'll be the forestry programs coordinator, and but I also serve as our Northeast District service forester, which encompasses Apache County, all of Apache County and Navajo County, and then a little portion of Coconino and Greenlee, I believe. And so yeah, I'm going to talk about our forest stewardship program. Very similar to some of the other stewardship programs that have been mentioned, but let me just, next slide here. So like I said, similar to the other stewardship programs, so we provide strategies to help manage a productive and sustainable landscape for rural and private landowners in Arizona. And so this program is open to rural landowners or combinations of landowners or producers that have 10 acres or larger parcels. So We're not saying that we won't work with a landowner that has 5 acres, but you know, we ask that, you know, that maybe that landowner reach out to one of their neighbors or other landowners in the area to increase that acreage so we can at least get up to that minimum 10 acres. And so our primary goal with the forest stewardship program is to help landowners achieve sustainable forests, woodlands, and grasslands that support healthy plant, soil, and water and wildlife resources. So again, there's that same theme, you know, of all these different agencies. We're really, you know, trying to connect landowners, you know, and have them really take stewardship of their land. And you know, we're there to provide the technical and technical assistance and also financial assistance to help landowners, you know, meet the goals and objectives that they outline. So. And so my presentation, I'm going to keep it really brief and simple, but so this was a landowner in Apache County in the Vernon area that I've been working with. And so this is something that our, you know, at Arizona State Forestry, this is a property that, you know, that we would deal with. You know, we have that left picture there. We have a stand of ponderosa pine, you know, a fairly dense stand. You can see some mortality happening. There's some bark beetle issues, some drought-related mortality, and just competition-induced mortality. So, you know, that's something that we would like to, you know, address, you know, the current conditions of that property, and then look to get that forest stewardship plan established. And then after that plan's established, then we look through funding through, you know, whether it's through our department or through outside grant programs and financial assistance program like EQIP. You can see that center picture there. There's a invasive thistle species that can really take off in an area. So, you know, that's another thing that we look at, as well as in that right picture, maybe some soil and erosion issues. So, so this was a project also in Apache County. It was funded through our hazardous fuels grant program, and that was awarded to Apache County. And this landowner also in the Vernon area, I think this property was 150 acres roughly. And so you can see there's some pinyon juniper habitat off to the right there where they did some mastication of juniper. And you can already see a lot of the grasses and forbs kind of taken off there. And then there was a small portion of that property that had a ponderosa pine stand where they came through and did some stand improvement and some thinning to thin from below, remove a lot of small and healthy trees, and also remove some of where the juniper had encroached. So funding through our program that comes again through us. We have various, you know, different grant programs that we offer. So one of our big ones again is the hazardous fuels grant program, and that's available to nonprofits, municipalities, fire departments, county, state. And I did throw in federal just because we do have some of those dollars are federal dollars, but we also do receive state dollars that can be utilized on federal land. So I don't want to exclude public federal land. So our invasive plant grant program, that one is also that program's gotten fairly large in the past year or two. We used to only receive somewhere in the realm of like $100,000 a year to allocate funds to grant projects across the state. And now I think we're up to about $1 million a year to allocate to projects. So, and you know, that can be used for salt cedar, some of the big ones that we do down in the Phoenix in the desert areas is buffalo grass and treating some of those nasty invasive grasses. But so that's just another grant program that's available again to nonprofits, municipalities, county, state, federal. I should have thrown in education institutions as well, that they're also available to apply for those. Community Challenge Grant Program, that one applies more to our rural communities, but it's really aimed at urban and community forestry. But Apache County was also awarded a $5,000 grant for that program. I think that was in District 2 up in Ganado. But again, just another grant program. Previously, Apache County was awarded a Western Bark Beetle Initiative grant, and I think that was some of the thinning that occurred in the Alpine and Nutrioso area. So that one is for that grant program targets ponderosa pine that has the potential to become infested with bark beetles. So it's a preventative thinning treatments, and it tries to get stand conditions down to 60 to 80 feet of basal area. And if you want to know what basal area is, or you don't know, feel free to reach out to me. We can have that discussion. But so there's that one. And then we just came out, we're rolling out actually this year, this Healthy Forest Cost Share Program. And this one's a very different program. We're really excited about it. Individual landowners can apply for this grant, and it's a cost share. So this is, and this is for a landowner that, if they see, maybe it's some pinyon pine or even ponderosa pine that's infested with bark beetles. Well, the best thing to do is to get those trees off your property as soon as possible while those beetles are still in the tree. So this cost share program, you contact us and you go through one of our contractors that are on state contract. And that's a 50-50 cost share program. So we split the cost with you, and then we get those trees that are infested out of there. So I think we'll have more information about that program in the coming weeks. I'm sorry, I got an upset 2-year-old. And then, so if you want to know more about our grant program, you can always go to our website, bffm.az.gov, and just click on the grants page. And I also do want to mention, again, some of the other funding opportunities that I hope to utilize more in the future with some of the landowners that I work with through NRCS, the EQIP program. But we also do apply for grants like the landscape scale restoration grants. And we're always open to partner. I've already heard a lot of opportunities for future partnerships. So again, I think we're all on the same team here, and so really look forward to potentially working with landowners in Apache County, but also some of the other partners that are on this meeting. And there's my contact information. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to give me a call or email, and I'll open it up for questions.
Any questions for John? You can unmute yourself at that bottom menu at the bottom of your screen, or you could type it in the chat. No questions for John? John, don't worry about the background noise. This is just what we all have to deal with now.
Yeah, it's snack time. She's a little hangry. So.
Well, that's understandable. She's got to get her snacks.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, if there's no questions for John, thank you so much, John. And DFFM is another great partner, and so thank you. And yeah, look forward to seeing how we can further partner in the future. And it looks like you guys are already working with the Apache NRCD, and that's wonderful. Okay, so we're going to move on to JD Eddy, the Landowner Relations Specialist for the Arizona Game and Fish Department. JD, hold on, John. I'm going to stop you sharing. JD, you there?
I think.
All right, let's see if we could share.
Let's see. There we go.
All right, we're seeing something. There we go.
Get that full screen here. Oh, I gotta go to the. I don't know why it's not going full screen. Just 1 second.
Did you try slideshow from beginning or something? I don't know. Not very savvy. That's what I do.
Well, shoot, it was working earlier.
Let's see. I don't know if there's something I could do on my end.
There we go. Is that better?
Wait, hold on. Maybe it's taking a minute to register. Right now we're seeing the PowerPoint and then we're seeing the second slide on the right.
Oh. Yeah. Let me stop sharing my screen. I may have shared.
Sure. No, that's a good thing. Yeah, stop sharing and then start again and see if you can figure it out.
There we go. I think I had it open a couple of times. Let's try this.
All right, let's see. Okay, we're seeing the PowerPoint. Let's see. There. Well, it's doing the same thing, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Take it away.
I think there's maybe a full screen button. I don't know where this little thing came from. This. This next slide thing, that's new to me. But
yeah, that is. That's okay, JD. We could see it. It looks great.
All right, good deal. Well, so my name's JD Eddy. I'm the Landowner Relations Program Specialist for Region 1 of Game and Fish. So I cover Navajo, Apache, and Greenlee County with a little bit of Coconino over by Leonard and Clear Creek Canyon. So our program is a lot similar to many of the other programs we've already heard about today, but since this is going to be recorded and sent out to everyone else beyond who's on the call, I'll try to take this a little more seriously and try to go over with a little bit of detail all these different pieces that we have to offer. So we have two primary objectives at the Landowner Relations Program with Game and Fish. The main thing that I do here in Navajo and Apache counties are habitat and population management projects. But we also do try to protect and secure public access throughout the state. And we have several of those programs within our those counties as well. And sometimes we'll partner those two different objectives together to try to help accomplish the same goals that the landowners may have as well. So I'll kind of go over some of those specifics on some of these next slides. So this map here is just kind of a quick rundown of all the different folks that are available for anybody that's seeing this presentation. So my information is there circled in green, but on that map there, if you kind of get a general idea of your area, there's a representative like myself throughout all of those different spaces, and those are our regions for the Game and Fish. And there's also everybody from my name above is in that Phoenix area headquarters that's in that orange star. So some of our programs that are offered throughout the state and other partners that we have hired folks working partly with us and different agencies. There's some NRCS partners on there, Mule Deer Foundation partners that are partly funded by our program, but also funded by their own organizations as well. I was a contractor for a good year or so when I first came to this position here in this part of the state. I work for Game and Fish full-time now. So this is kind of the focuses of our program. So the objective is to improve the department's relationship with landowners and lessees at a local level. So this computer presentation is a little new to us. We're used to being on the ground handshakes, you know, one-on-one, talking about projects and figuring out how we can best make those projects something that is mutually beneficial for everyone involved. So somehow it needs to benefit us and our funding sources and the game, you know, throughout the area. But we want those projects to also be something that is going to benefit the landowners or the lessees, permittees with their operations as well. So these win-win projects are really what we're focusing on. So we do this through some different avenues. All of our programs are cost share funding. So whether we're partnering with another agency, nonprofit organizations like some of that we've already talked about, you know, with Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and others. But we can provide funding towards these conservation projects, and access agreements are a little different than this, and I'll go over those a little later. But these cost share funds are usually on a 50-50 basis. That we have had multiple partnerships where we've been able to assist with like an NRCS EQIP project that has been funded. You know, there's sometimes a leftover portion that is the responsibility of a permittee or a landowner, and we have been able to split those costs with them in order to help make that conservation practice come to reality. We also do a lot of technical assistance. We will, I'll go around and that technical assistance can be anything from what I think might be good practices or things to improve the habitat. I've gone out and assisted with land surveys or habitat surveys in order to meet requirements for different projects or exemptions. For example, I've assisted with counting trees and doing our ground cover surveys so that we can meet exemption statuses for some of our grassland restoration projects. So anything from a conversation on up to actual on the ground work and teaching the landowners how to assist and know what's going on with those types of activities as well. We also provide outreach and public information assistance. Sometimes this is in the form of just educating the public on different common practices that make sense to most of us that have been in the ranching community for some time, but things like closing gates and staying on the road and that kind of thing, as well as these types of activities like we're doing today. We're just try to get the word out about our different programs and in those. And most importantly of all, this last bullet here is the planning and coordination with private landowners, lessees, and public agencies to establish and implement long-term wildlife management objectives. So really we get the most bang for our buck, and we get the most ground work done on the ground. Just like we just had a conversation a few minutes ago about different partnerships with the local NRCD, NRCS, the forest, bringing on additional funding from Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Mule Deer Foundation, Game and Fish. All of us coming together, we really can get some large landscape projects accomplished and bring these smaller, not little, but smaller funding opportunities together and marry those funds so that we can accomplish real landscape level objectives for an entire permit or even in like this case, sometimes in over an entire landscape. So there's a really important piece of this for our objectives is the human factor. So really my position is to build these relationships and trust with the permittees and landowners, some of which you are on the call. And that's really my objective, to help communicate how we're out to assist and bring all those partners together in a way that is mutually beneficial for all of us, and keeping the wildlife in mind with your agricultural operations. All of our programs are voluntary. They're, we offer incentives through financial and other means, signage, some of that education outreach and that type of thing. But really all of these opportunities it's up to the permittee, the lessee, and that landowner to decide to take us on as a trusted partner and be able to combine our forces to accomplish these goals. But the landowner is always the final decision maker, and our programs are designed to hopefully assist the landowner in promoting a conservation ethic. So trying to keep that the wildlife in mind in addition to your agricultural operations. So we have a lot of different tools at our disposal to accomplish this. We have our access programs. These are 100% voluntary. They're quite flexible. We can talk about opening and closing different portions of the ranch, different times of the year, during our hunting seasons and those kinds of things, or if you're calving and you don't want anybody in a certain area during that period of time, and those types of things. So it's a very good program in that funding is available for you to do what you need to do with it to both maintain that access program, and a lot of times folks will take that additional access program funding and they will turn it into additional conservation dollars, partnering with us and other agencies for accomplishing some of these habitat projects as well. So really those dollars are up to that landowner and how they want to use them. But we do try to encourage that they are saved for those or instances where there's a habitat need, but also keeping some funds available for things like if a fence is cut or a gate is needed or something like that to maintain access across that portion of property. We have Adopt a Ranch programs and Respect program. That was Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation just talked about that a little bit. That is what the Oaxaca Ranch's Adopt a Ranch Day is, when we get a bunch of folks together through different organizations to do a volunteer day to accomplish different habitat projects, maintain fences, really just try to help keep up with the ranch so that the presence of the recreationalists is not as big a burden on those individuals. Our heritage sensitive species habitat, different projects for wetland restoration, fencing out wetland projects, and pronghorn related type activities are done through those types of funds. We have our LRP habitat match funding. That's our 50-50 habitat management or incentive programs. We get 100 donations. Wildlife habitat enhancement programs is now actually just called the Habitat Enhancement Program. All of these different sources are non-tax dollars that are basically come to us in one way or another through a sportsman or a permittee, and then some of our different groups that do auction off tags and things that are granted by the commission, such as our Habitat Partnership Committee funds, where those tags are auctioned off and those funds are then able to be put out on the ground for habitat projects. And 100% of that funding goes towards that. So really good programs, lots of different tools, and all of which we can extend the influence of those different programs through all of our different partnerships with everybody here on this call and all those that are willing to work with us. It's really only limited by the amount of people we can bring together to talk about a project. So real quick, this is our webpage, Arizona or azgfd.gov. If you click on the wildlife habitat little tool here at the top bar, there's the Landowner Relations and Habitat Enhancement Program page. This little link here, the contact information button, will bring up that map with all of the different folks' contacts numbers, and most of those are cell phones, so you can get directly in contact with one of us that are on the ground in your area. And then there's a brief introduction to each one of those different programs that I just glazed over real quickly. Whoops. Some examples of what some different programs might be for the habitat improvement type projects, and we would discuss which different avenue to go about obtaining these or doing these types of projects. But some things we've been involved in here in Apache County were dirt tank cleanouts, bentonite treatments, solar well conversions. Many of those as of late, this has been a very popular and a good way to get wildlife waters scattered throughout our habitat up here. Water storage tanks to increase the capacity for these types of things. Pipelines, wildlife friendly drinkers, prescribed fire, brush treatments, some of that grassland restoration, wildlife friendly fencing, wildlife food plots, and riparian habitat improvement projects. So just kind of a quick example of some of the different things that you could be thinking about as a permittee or lessee that we may be able to bring some partners together to help accomplish some of those goals. There's also our access program. I don't really have any pictures on this one just to protect folks' information, but we're always looking to solve issues, but as of late, we've been really trying to be proactive and getting these types of access agreements together with folks prior to real issues, so that we can be ready for if something were to occur across that property. This is a program where we reward the landowners for allowing that access through the use of funds and expand that awareness of that to those neighbors that then see those recreational opportunities being utilized, but also hopefully the benefit of allowing that to continue. We work with lots of different user groups, kind of some of those Adopt a Ranch programs, our different NGOs, some of our ATV groups, our fishing groups, our hunting groups, just to try to raise that awareness of best practices and what their activities on different types of land ownership and different people's properties, really how that affects those properties and how they can minimize those effects to be able to maintain that opportunity to recreate there. So really our goal is to connect the users with the landowners and vice versa, those landowners backing in with those users and come to a common objective of maintaining that opportunity, but also doing so in a way that is not harmful to the operation. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for JD? You can unmute yourself down at the bottom of the screen or type in chat.
We're right on schedule, barely.
We are. No, you did good. Thank you, JD, and thank you, Game and Fish Department, another great partner.
You bet.
We really appreciate that. I'm just going to say a few closing words. First, I wanted to say, as Derek mentioned earlier, if you're interested in attending the Apache Natural Resource Conservation District, they are going to be meeting after this. We're going to keep the Zoom meeting open. I will stop recording though after I start speaking, but so feel free to stick around for that. But I wanted to say thank you so much to Derek Knight and the Apache NRCD, is a great partner, to NRCS, always a great partner of ours, Apache County Farm Bureau, thank you so much. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you, JD, John, Rob. Haley, yeah, David, and Derek. Yeah, thank you all for taking the time to do that. Thank you all for attending this. We hope you found this to be worthwhile. Again, we are recording. We are going to put this on the AACD website at aacd1944.com. And then also, if you need to reach me, I'm just going to say my contact information again if you didn't write it down. It's Sharma, SHARMA, Torrens, TORRENS, at aacd1944.com, or my cell phone, and please feel free to call 602-540-5331. Again, thank you so much for attending. I'm going to be sending up a follow-up email with the surveys for the Conservation Stewardship Program. I'd really appreciate your feedback on those. I'm also going to send out David's contact information, Haley's link to the video on their Facebook page, and JD, I think it was you that had a document to send.
Yeah, it was just that PDF.
Okay, great. So I'll send out your document as well. And if anyone's interested in the Conservation Stewardship Program, again, please feel free to reply right back to me. I will send you the email today. I encourage all farmers and ranchers to apply. Public lands are eligible. You can be a lessee or a tenant. It really pays you for things that you're doing on your land or that you want to do conservation practices. Want to see you all take advantage of it. Got a deadline of June 1st, but we can make it. So anyway, so thank you all so much, and we really appreciate you attending. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions whatsoever. I'm going to stop recording, and the Apache NRCD meeting can start. So thank you so much again.